My business just isn't interesting enough for social media. I hear this from business owners all the time. They think because they're not selling luxury cars or running a tech startup that nobody wants to hear their story. But what they don't realize is that some of the most successful content creators I know run boring businesses. HVAC companies, accounting firms, roofing contractors, and they're all generating millions of views and thousands of leads because they understand one thing that most business owners miss. Every business has stories. The problem isn't that your business is boring, it's that you don't know how to tell the stories that are already there. I'm Logan Forsyth, and my team has helped generate over 5 billion views and 1 million leads for businesses across 34 industries, and I can tell you with certainty that storytelling is a skill you can learn. Today, I'm going to show you the exact storytelling framework that turns boring businesses into content gold mines and how to use these stories to drive real leads and sales for your company. There's a few different reasons why business owners think that they can't tell stories, with the first being the Hollywood myth. See, most people think that storytelling means dramatic movie-like narratives, and they picture explosions, plot twists, and Hollywood endings, when the reality is the best business stories are simple and relatable moments. You don't need drama, you need connection. Second is the boring business trap. They think that nobody cares about accounting or plumbing or insurance, and the truth is, people don't care about your industry, they care about the problems that you solve. Every business solves human problems, and humans love stories about solutions. Your boring business is someone else's lifesaver. The third reason is the perfectionism paralysis. So many business owners are waiting for the perfect story to tell, thinking every story needs to be profound or life-changing, when in reality, the most powerful stories are often the smallest moments. So let's go over the universal story structure that works for any business, which is the problem, solution, transformation framework. So there's 3 essential elements to this. First being the problem. What challenge did someone face? The journey is then how did you help them navigate it? And the transformation is what changed in their life or business. Why this framework is business gold is because every customer interaction follows this pattern, and people relate to problems more than solutions. Transformation creates emotional connection, and it really shows your expertise without you bragging. There's also the relatability factor, where your audience needs to see themselves in the problem. And the more specific the problem, the more universal it feels. Generic problems create generic connections, and specific problems create those moments where people feel like that's exactly me when they're hearing the story. Now, there are 5 story types that every business owner should master. The first story type is the customer transformation. The structure for this is a client comes to you with problem X. You implement solution Y, and they achieve result Z. An example for an accountant would be, the problem is a small business owner is drowning in receipts and missing deductions. The journey is that you implement simple tracking systems and quarterly reviews, and the transformation is they save $15,000 in taxes and sleep better at night. Why this works is because your prospects see themselves in your customer's shoes, and it demonstrates your authority through results while creating desire for the same transformation. Story type number 2 is the behind the scenes moments. So the structure of this is to show the human side of running your business. So think like the day in your life. An example for a restaurant owner could be the story where the day that your main chef called in sick during your busiest night, and then the journey of how you and your team pulled together to serve every customer, with the transformation that you realize the importance of cross-training staff. Why this works is because it builds trust through vulnerability, shows your values under pressure, and makes your business feel more human and relatable. Story type number 3 is the origin story. The structure of this is why you started your business and what drives you. So an example for a fitness coach could be starting with the problem that you were overweight and tried every diet without success. You followed the journey where you discovered sustainable approaches that actually worked, and then the transformation that now you help others avoid the same struggles. Why this works is because it creates emotional connection to your mission, it shows you understand your customer's pain, and it builds authority through personal experience. Story type number 4 is the mistake and learning. The structure of this is a time that you messed up and what you learned from it. So an example for a marketing agency could be starting with the problem, you launched a campaign without proper testing. Then you have the journey where the campaign flopped and you had to rebuild client trust. Then there was a transformation where now you never launch without A/B testing everything. Why this works is because it builds trust through honesty, shows continuous improvement, and demonstrates expertise that has been gained through experience. Story type number 5 is the industry insight. The structure of this one could be sharing knowledge that only insiders know. So an example for a real estate agent could be starting with the problem that most buyers focus only on listing price. The journey is explaining hidden costs they never consider, and the transformation is that buyers make smarter decisions with the full picture. Why this works is because it positions you as the expert, provides genuine value to your audience, and creates trust through education. So how do you find stories in your boring business? Well, you have a gold mine and your best stories are hidden in plain sight. Every call with a customer has potential story material. When you help someone overcome a challenge, that has potential story material. When you do things differently than your competitors, that has story material. Then team interactions and how your people can make the difference can turn into stories as well. So we put together this story audit exercise to come up with endless stories. Step 1, write down every customer interaction you've had. Step 2, note any problems you solved or challenges that you face. Step 3, record any of the aha moments or insights that you can share. And then step 4, look for patterns because these become your story themes. Also, some amazing stories can be your first customer. What was that experience like? You can also talk about your biggest business challenge and how did you overcome it? What's your proudest moment in business? And what achievement means the most to you? And then talk about lessons learned. What would you tell your younger self or when you got started earlier in your business journey? When doing and studying this, it's also important to understand the psychology of business storytelling and why stories work better than facts. You can think of your brain like a filing cabinet. And in that filing cabinet, facts get filed away and forgotten. But stories get filed under experiences, and we remember experiences forever. There's actual science behind this as well, that stories activate multiple areas of the brain. Emotional connection creates stronger memory for people, and people also make decisions with emotion than justify with logic. Stories provide both the emotion and the logic, making them one of the most powerful methods of communication and persuasion, and therefore one of the best frameworks that you can follow when creating your content to grow your brand. There's also something very powerful called the trust equation, where vulnerability plus competence equals trust. Vulnerability is sharing challenges and mistakes, and competence is demonstrating expertise and results. Together, this creates authentic authority that people want to follow. Another aspect is the mirror effect. People see themselves in your stories and literally think, if it worked for them, it could work for me. This creates desire for the same outcome and moves prospects from awareness to consideration. But how do we turn stories into leads and sales? Well, first, we should understand the soft sell approach where stories sell without selling. So instead of saying, hire me, you show why someone should hire you through narrative. The traditional approach is saying, we're the best accounting firm in town. And the story approach is following a framework of, here's how we saved a client $20,000 in taxes they didn't know they were overpaying. There's also the call to action integration. Every story should end with a natural next step. Educational stories could say, want to learn more? Download our guide. Transformation stories can say, ready to own your transformation? Book a consultation. Behind the scenes stories can say, curious how we do this? Let's talk. You can also tie all this together with the content funnel strategy, where at top of funnel, you have broad, relatable stories that attract attention. Middle of funnel, you have specific case studies that demonstrate expertise. And then bottom of funnel, you have detailed transformation stories that drive action. Now, if this all sounds great, but also sounds like a lot, and you want a top-tier team to implement all of this for you, plus so much more, we work with businesses doing $3 million plus per year with a focus on content. We'll come in and fully take ownership over your content strategy. We'll script out videos for you. We split test hooks. We build an entire network of not only managing your main socials, but also a full network of sub-accounts. We can take you from one account per platform to multiple accounts per platform, which takes you from posting hundreds of times per month to thousands of times per month. We have top-tier editors, social media managers, copywriters to script out all the content for you, clip coordinators and data analysts to tie and track it all together. And we do this largely performance-based with satisfaction and results guaranteed. We're consistently able to generate some of the highest levels of organic social media growth that our clients have ever experienced, and have done this repeatedly for 7, 8, 9, and even 10-figure brands across 34 industries. We don't do this just for vanity metrics. We do this to implement real business results, where it drives more organic lead flow than a lot of our clients have ever experienced before. And because of our performance-based approach and also satisfaction and results guaranteed, we put a lot of skin in the game with each of our client partners, to where if you don't win, then we don't win as well. We're very specific about who we work with on this, because we only want to go in with 100% certainty that we're going to crush it. And this truly is one of the biggest growth opportunities on socials in the current decade. If this sounds like a fit for you, linked in the description, we have a full step-by-step training video walking you through this entire process of how we can script out and do all the work for you, where less than 2 hours per month of filming can turn into minimum 420 plus posts per month. And if you already have a lot of proven existing content, our team can come in and repurpose it, post thousands of times per month for you, and we're consistently creating tens of millions and many times 100 million plus views per month for our clients on top of what you currently have in place. Make sure to check out that link in the description. And now let's get into the common mistakes that people make with storytelling. The first big common mistake is the hero complex, where you make yourself the hero of every story. And the fix of this is making your customer the hero, with you being the guide. So an example is, instead of saying, "I saved this business," say, "This business owner transformed their company." Next is the feature dump mistake, where you focus on what you do instead of what changes. So the fix for this is focus on the transformation and not the process. An example would be, instead of "we provide 24/7 support," you can say, "Here's how our midnight response saved a client's biggest sale." The third mistake is the vague ending. Stories that don't lead anywhere. So how you fix this is every story should have a clear takeaway or next step. An example is to always end with specific advice or relevant offer. And now let's get into advanced storytelling techniques. First is going to be the open loop. When you start a story, you don't want to finish it immediately. You want to create curiosity that keeps people watching. So an example would be, "I'm about to tell you about the worst mistake that I ever made, but first, let me explain why it happened." The second advanced technique is the pattern interrupt. You can break expected storytelling patterns and grab attention through surprise. An example of this is, everyone thinks success stories are inspiring, but this failure story will make you millions more in revenue. The next is the nested story. So this is a story within a story and adds depth and keeps attention. So an example would be telling a customer story, then share what it reminded you of from your own experience. So how do we tie all this together and make your story stick? First, there's the specificity principle. A vague example would be, a client was struggling with their marketing. A specific example could be, Sean, a 7-figure business consultant, was spending $50,000 a month on Facebook ads and consistently seeing his profit shrink month after month. Specific details make stories feel real and much more memorable. Then you also want to get into the sensory details. What did it look like, sound like, and feel like? Sensory details transport people into the story and makes abstract concepts concrete and relatable. You can also create the emotional arc. Every great story has an emotional journey. You start with a setup where you establish the normal situation. It leads to conflict, where you introduce the problem or challenge, and then a resolution where you show how things changed. And lastly, a reflection, what it means for the audience. Now, if you run a business doing over 3 million per year and want our team to help you identify and tell your stories in a way that drives massive reach and leads, then you should apply to work with media scaling. We've helped businesses in every industry you can imagine turn their boring stories into millions of views and thousands of leads. Not only this, but we come in with a top-tier team and have the systems to turn less than 2 hours of filming per month into 420 plus posts per month across all platforms for you, tapping into omnipresence, extremely fast and compounding social media growth, and overall turning your socials into an organic lead machine, generating our clients hundreds, thousands, and potentially even tens of thousands of organic leads per month. And if you're in business, you've probably learned that organic leads convert at higher rates, stay for longer, pay more money, refer more customers, and have less marketing costs to generate them as customers, therefore leading to higher profit for you. If this sounds like a fit, check out the link in the description. We have a step-by-step training video walking you through the process of what all this looks like and where you can apply it to work with us and speak with our team further. If you get value from this and you want more game of more videos like this dropping every week, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.